This is a story from John chapter 4, reading verses 4 to 26. This is a story about Jesus meeting the woman at the well and what Brian's going to talk to us about. Now Jesus had to go through Samaria, so he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?" For Jews do not associate with Samaritans. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it was that asked you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his flocks and herds?" Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but those who drink the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water so that I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here to draw water." He told her, "Go, call your husband and come back." "I have no husband," she replied. Jesus said to her, "You are right when you say you have no husband. The fact is, you have had 5 husbands, and the man you now have is not your husband. What you have just said is quite true." "Sir," the woman said, "I can see that you are a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews claim that the place where we must worship is in Jerusalem." "Woman," Jesus replied, "believe me, a time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. You Samaritans worship what you do not know. We worship what we do know, for salvation is from the Jews. Yet a time is coming, and has now come, when the true worshippers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth, for they are the kind of worshippers the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and his worshippers must worship in the Spirit and in truth." The woman said, "I know that Messiah, called Christ, is coming. When he comes, he will explain everything to us." Then Jesus declared, "I, the one speaking to you, I am he." As we come into your presence, all our heart secrets unfold. But by your love and
So this is a story of an encounter between a woman and Jesus, an encounter that changed her life. The woman was a nobody in her society. First of all, she's a woman, and women were second-class citizens. She's a Samaritan, and the Jews really despised the Samaritans because in history they had intermarried with other races, and so the Jews looked down on them as quite tainted. It also seems that she was coming to get water, but she was doing it in the heat of the day. Now, you just didn't do that. You'd get water in the morning when it was cool. But her having to come in the middle of the day suggests that she was rejected by the other women of the village. In fact, she's not even given a name. She's just a woman. So, from what we hear about her later, we can see that she was a loner and an outcast. You can't get much lower in society than to be a woman, a Samaritan, and be rejected by the other women. This nobody is just going about her daily routine. She's not expecting anything. Then she comes upon Jesus just sitting on the well. And it's quite possible she started to think, oh no, I'm going to have to wait till this guy moves. Instead, it's Jesus who makes the initial contact. Now, we know from later in the story that Jesus knew all about her and who she was, but his initial statement simply is, could you get me a drink? You can see in the story that this was a shock to her because, well, he was a Jew and she was a Samaritan, she was a woman. It's not possible for her to offer Jesus a drink. But what Jesus was saying to her was, you are worth something. You can do something for me. She wasn't a nobody. She wasn't a worthless person. Certainly that's how she felt about herself, by the way she reacted to Jesus' question and say, but I'm a woman, I'm a Samaritan, and you can't have anything to do with me. So Jesus, then having engaged her interest, and went on to say to her that he could give her something else. He could give her living water that would quench her thirst forever. Now that excited her. But on the level of her thinking, I wouldn't have to come to this well every day. I'd have this living water and it would last me forever. But of course, Jesus was talking about spiritual life, not actual drinking water. This is where Jesus revealed to her that he knew all about her. He asked her to go and get her husband, and she replied, I don't actually have a husband. And that's when he said, yeah, you've been married 5 times and the man you're with now is not your husband. Suddenly, all her secrets were out in the open. This man knew everything about her. She'd been getting all excited about the fact that this man was even talking to her and suggesting that, she could do something for him. And then he's just gone and brought up all her past in front of her. She was astute enough to see that Jesus was a prophet. I mean, how else would he know all these things about her? But notice what she does. She suddenly does a sideways move and asks a theological question. When it starts to get a bit close to home, we often deflect. And what better way to ask a theological question, because it makes us, we're able to keep talking. It makes us sound like we're really religious and interested in things, and we don't have to face what's actually going on in our lives. But Jesus knew that she was a broken person, and the only thing that would heal her brokenness was when he was offering her his Spirit to live within her when she believed and trusted in him. That is what real life is. It alters life for us now, and it goes with us in life in the future. A very symbolic thing happens here. We didn't read it in the part of the story that we read, and it's often something that's just passed over. It says in the verse following that the woman put down her jar, left it there, and ran back into town to tell the other villagers all about this man she'd just met. She'd come to the well to draw physical water. She met Jesus, and she'd found a source of living water. So she left her daily routine and went off because she had found something far better. The message for us is, Jesus sees every one of us as worthwhile people. There's none of us who are too bad or too nothingy, too worthless, that we aren't important to Jesus. He sees the potential in all of us. More importantly, he also knows the hurts and the pains that we carry inside. And often we're carrying them and living over the top of them and trying to hide them from all other people because we feel ashamed or we just don't want to face the hurt that's there. The message for us is that Jesus knows, he sees, but he also sees the potential in all of us. He wants us to bring those hurts and those pains to him so that we can receive his healing, because he really is the only one who can heal the hurts and pains within us. If we don't face them, then they're likely to rise up and hit us at the most inappropriate moment. We can come to Jesus knowing that he loves us more than we can ever imagine. He knows what we're suffering, and he wants to bring healing.